Hello everybody, it's me again. Welcome to Sportuccino. I'm Richard Parr. We are live. It is Thursday, the 27th of October. It is great to have you on today's show. We will be previewing WWE Hell in a Cell with Hooked on Events' wrestling expert Vikram Sangar. Can't wait to have him on the show. Lots of things happening in the world of sport, including last night's EFL results and the latest draw. Plus, there was some interesting news coming out of Italy. Well, let's tell you all of that in more detail with our morning headlines.
West Ham manager Slaven Bilic condemns the crowd violence that marred their 2-1 win in the EFL Cup over Chelsea. A goal from Juan Mata gave Manchester United a 1-0 win in their cup derby against Manchester City. An earthquake interrupts the Serie A match between Pescara and Atalanta for 2 minutes. And in Game 2 of the World Series, the Chicago Cubs beat the Cleveland Indians 5-1 to level the series.
Well, today's show is brought to you by the award-winning magician Matt Parro. Matt can wow your crowd for any event or party that you have. If you would like to book him for your next big event, send him an email on his website, mattparro.com. You can also contact him on Twitter at mattparro. Thanks to him for sponsoring today's show. If you would like to sponsor our show, all you've got to do, really easy, drop us an email, sportsdesk@sportuccino.com. Well, this is your show. If you have any views on any of those headlines of today in the world of sport, what did you think of the crowd violence at the London Olympic Park last night between the West Ham fans and the Chelsea fans? I thought we had gotten past most of that nonsense, personally. I can't believe that that still happens. I can't believe that people still want to go to football for a fight. For me, that's brainless. It doesn't make any sense, you know. It doesn't happen in rugby. It doesn't happen in cricket. And I can't be dealing with that, oh, it's different type of people. No, we're all humans. We've all got a brain. We all know when not to fight. You know, why can you go and have a beer at cricket and at rugby, but you can't have at football because there's going to be a fight? Absolute ridiculousness. West Ham say they will ban for life any fans that were caught doing any wrongdoing because they've got lots of CCTV cameras in London's Olympic Park. Chelsea say they will do similar. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments page below on YouTube and on Facebook. We're live streaming like we do every single weekday morning from 8 a.m. Also, if you've got any thoughts on this, send us a note on the Twitter page at Sportuccino. Now, the thing about Twitter is every single morning we like to do a brand new poll, and one of the headlines this morning was about the Chicago Cubs leveling the World Series with the Cleveland Indians to 1 apiece. So that is our poll today. We want to know who will win the World Series. Will it be the Chicago Cubs or will it be the Cleveland Indians? Really easy. Go on the Twitter page. It's on the page, and then all you've got to do is just pick who you think is going to win. So who will win the World Series, the Chicago Cubs or the Cleveland Indians? We would love to get your feedback. Well, we do a poll every single day, and yesterday on the show we had the author and award-winning sports writer Rob Beasley. Really interesting chat with him all about Jose Mourinho, very close to the Manchester United manager. If you missed that, go back and watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, or listen to it as an audio podcast on iTunes. Really interesting. But because he's brought out the new book, Jose Mourinho Up Close and Personal, I wanted to know how you digest your reading. So let's take a look at the results of the poll. So it's, in what format do you normally read a book? Hardback, paperback, audiobook, or ebook device? And 50% of you say you do it via an ebook device such as a Kindle. So that is the poll. It looks like we are moving into the digital age. 50% of you with an ebook device on the poll. So you heard in the headlines that Manchester United beat Manchester City in the EFL Cup. Let's have a quick roundup of last night's results. So Juan Mata scored the only goal. That proved to be the difference between United and City. You know, Jose Mourinho getting back onto winning ways after that horrific 4-0 defeat against Chelsea on Sunday. In fact, Mourinho even apologised to the crowd and thanked them for their patience after that big defeat. But what is going on with City? It's their longest winless run since, guess this, 2008. December 2008. They haven't won a match in 6 games. It's the worst run ever for their manager Pep Guardiola. And last night, they didn't even have a shot on target. What do you think of that? Is it Pep out? Is it time for him to sling his hook? I'm sorry, it didn't happen under Manuel Pellegrini. Manuel Pellegrini won titles with City and he was still replaced by Guardiola. Can Guardiola only really do it with world-class players like he had at Barcelona and at Bayern Munich? What do you think? Let me know in the comments page. Is it time for Pep to go? Let me know. Southampton, they're also through with a 1-0 win against fellow Premier League side Sunderland. And as we mentioned, West Ham 2-1 winners over Chelsea in that big London derby, which was unfortunately marred by crowd violence. So those are the results for last night. There were also 5 matches on Tuesday. So we're now at the quarter-final stage of the EFL Cup. The draw has been made. Let's take a look at the draw. So Arsenal have drawn Southampton. Hull face Newcastle in a north-east derby. Liverpool face Leeds United. And Manchester United take on West Ham. All those matches coming up. I think it's from the 29th of November, I believe. So that is the draw for the EFL Cup. Now, we've done all the football chat for the moment, but our guest today is in fact a Leeds fan. We'll be talking about that in a moment, but he is here primarily to talk about the big pay-per-view on the WWE Network this Sunday. It's called Hell in a Cell. 3 matches in Hell in a Cell. And joining me now from Hooked On Events is the wrestling expert and wrestling journalist Vikram Sangar. Vic, welcome to Sportuccino.
Good morning, Richard.
How are you doing this morning? It looks pretty nice where you are today. I like your garden.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been working on it quite a bit actually, but yeah, it's probably looking the best it's been for a while.
It looks like it's perhaps an even better surface than Ellen Road. What do you make of Leeds?
Probably not as good. Probably not as good, I don't think.
What do you make of Leeds through to the quarterfinals?
Well, what a fantastic game it was actually in the first place against Norwich, who are sort of flying high in the championship. At sort of 1-1 going into extra time, we thought, oh, you know, here we go, Leeds can probably get through here. But to lose our right back so early on in extra time and playing with 10 men effectively for the rest of the game, to come out of it with a 2-2 draw and take it to penalties was something we were very proud of, really. And then to actually go through on penalties and win 3-2 was an amazing feeling, really. And the first time in almost 20 years, I think we're in the quarterfinals of the League Cup now.
Penalties can be so cruel if you lose, but so
yes.
amazing if you win.
Well, we were Norwich having missed 2 penalties in the first place, and Leeds then missing 2 themselves. You know, it was quite painstaking to watch, really, but just very glad we came out with the victory in the end.
Well, you'll be facing a very informed Liverpool team in the next round, so it might be as far as you go, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, Vic, let's talk about what you're really here for, and that is to talk about WWE Hell in a Cell. Before we run down the card, are you looking forward to this event?
I actually am, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, when you come up towards the end of the year and it's coming up towards sort of, you know, Christmas, generally the WWE pay-per-views, the matches, it goes into the bit of the doldrums, really. And so you're kind of always searching for something, you know, good to watch. And, you know, are there going to be any decent feuds leading up to the new year when it all really kicks off? But for once, with Hell in a Cell, they've got a triple main event coming up this Sunday, and more importantly than anything, I guess, is that 2 women are most likely going to be headlining the pay-per-view, which which will be happening for pretty much the first time ever in the WWE.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about that. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the WWE Women's Championship. Hell in a Cell for the first time. I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan. I think she's very, very good. I think Charlotte is an excellent heel. I think she's learnt so much from her father at drawing heat from the crowd.
That's right.
They've had some amazing matches. They've had some which haven't been quite as good. You know, I always see when it comes to women's matches in the last few years, Bayley versus Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn last year.
That's right.
That for me is the bar. That was my match of the year last year. I'd be amazed to see any match beat it. But the thing about Hell in a Cell, though, Vic, for me personally, is that I don't find it as barbaric as, say, a cage match, because the cage is just there, and they have to just try and find things to do with it. So I don't know. I question how good this will be. What do you make of the match, and who do you think is going to go over?
Well, the match itself, I mean, you know, like I just mentioned before, you know, the first time ever that two superstars, two females are going to be headlining the WWE pay-per-view, really, and to see Sasha Banks against Charlotte Flair, you know, it's a long-running feud, as you said. It's been running for quite a while now. Sasha, as we all know, is sort of related to Snoop Dogg. Charlotte Flair is the daughter of the 16-time world champion itself, Ric Flair. It's a very good Ric Flair impression there. But, Charlotte's got this amazing run at big events. You know, I think she's won 12 pay-per-view matches in a row. The Hell in a Cell itself, I think it will add so much to the match, and the fact that two women for the first time will be competing in the cell will be something to just really admire, really, you know, just take in, really. It'll be fantastic. You know, all the history around Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley in the past, where he's, you know, taken some amazing bumps. Whether we'll see that kind of level of entertainment or, you know, sort of excitement remains to be seen, but I have a feeling that I think Sasha Banks will probably win this one, just because that she was healthy enough to kind of come back and win the title straight away. So I have a feeling that they may well want to keep Sasha Banks on top, really, on this one.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Vic. I think it's been a while where they got her to win it on Raw and then lose it at pay-per-view. They win it back on
That's
Raw.
Right.
And I think it's time for her to get a big pay-per-view win.
Yeah.
I want to return to the other Hell in a Cell matches a little bit later. I just want to have a look at the rest of the undercard. So you've got the WWE Raw Tag Team title match between The New Day versus Sheamus and Cesaro. You've got the Cruiserweight title match between Brian Kendrick, or the Brian Kendrick, and TJ
That's
Perkins.
right, yeah.
And Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Do we care about any of these matches?
Depends on how often you watch wrestling, really, I guess. You mentioned Brian Kendrick there. It's nice to see him back in the WWE. Obviously, you know, he's had a long run on the independent scene for quite a while. TJ Perkins has just become, you know, sort of a recent Cruiserweight champion. They're having a decent feud.
Isn't
you know,
it
if you
a
watch
weird feud to you? I don't really get it. Like, I love the Cruiserweight Classic. I thought it was amazing, and I felt there were better characters and better athletes to focus the division around. And what really annoys me is they talk about Brian Kendrick like it's his last shot at 37. Yet Jericho's in his 40s. Look at the age Goldberg's coming back. So many wrestlers actually get good in their 40s, and they're saying like, oh, he's 37, his career's over. It doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, what the WWE seems to be doing at the minute is they're bringing back a lot of veterans to try and put over the younger talent that they have. So, you know, whether Brian Kendrick will be around, you know, just for a short term or long term, I guess remains to be seen. But I guess, you know, while they got him and while we've, you know, got a chance to enjoy him, really, it's I think it would make sense to actually have Brian Kendrick win on Sunday. I would quite like to see that. It was a decent feud up until this past week when Brian Kendrick actually just lost on Monday Night Raw, which kind of made no sense because he had a lot of good momentum, I think, going into Sunday. But I would say Brian Kendrick to possibly beat TJ Perkins on Sunday, really, and become the new WWE Cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, that made no sense to me when he lost to Rich Swann, unless they were bringing...
Nothing ever does it? Yeah, but we still watch. We still watch it every week.
That is the problem. It's our own undoing. It doesn't make any sense. And then you've got people who don't watch wrestling going, why are you watching it in the first place?
Exactly. But it's like a soap opera, isn't it? Every so often you watch, EastEnders or Coronation Street, and you go, oh, why on earth has that happened? And yet, so you still come back for more every single day.
I do. So, New Day against Sheamus and Cesaro. Personally, I think Sheamus and Cesaro, they're just there as more fodder for the New Day, because I think they want to get the New Day to beat Demolition's record and become the longest reigning champions ever. So I'm expecting New Day to go over there. Where do you think that's going to go?
I totally agree with you, really. The fact they've started to mention Demolition's long title reign, really. If you're old enough as I am, really, you probably remember Demolition. You probably remember their tag team run that they had in the sort of late 80s, early 90s and everything else. And they were one of the most feared tag teams at the time. New Day on a different level, really, very entertaining. The crowd love them, the kids love them, they sell a lot of merchandise. And Cesaro and Sheamus really have been a kind of a makeshift team that have been put together to further their own feud, really. So a bit like yourself, I can't see anything other than a New Day win on Sunday.
I think when they put Cesaro and Sheamus together, they thought it could be some kind of like funny partnership like you had with Goldust and Booker T and the Rock and Mick Foley and Daniel Bryan and Kane. I'm afraid it's not working. It doesn't do it for me whatsoever. Luke Gallows and Anderson against Enzo Amore versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Just quickly, who do you think is going to win that?
If WWE have any sense, they've got to make Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson win. They've been struggling all year, really. They've hardly won a match. So what's the point of having them if you're not going to let them win, really? So I would like to see Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson win. Yeah,
for me, it would have made more sense had they held them away from New Day for a little bit longer. Let New Day do all this kind of winning run, and then finally for them to take the belts off them. But I guess they
can't have everything.
All right, so let's go back to the triple main event. So we've already spoken about Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. That is one of the Hell in a Cell matches. The other Hell in a Cell match is between Roman Reigns and Rusev for the United States Championship. What have you thought about this feud?
Well, Roman Reigns, I mean, he's much maligned kind of character, isn't he, in the WWE now? He is, he was the one that the WWE were pinning huge hopes on for such a long time. But he was basically being shoved down the fans' throat, and the fans basically grew sick and tired of it, and eventually turned on how he was being booked and what his character kind of stood for, really. So I think they've been smart in the way they've booked Roman Reigns now. They've made him the United States champion. And Rusev, here is a character that's, sort of was Russian one week and then Bulgarian the next. He's come a long way, though, to be fair.
And
with Lana by his side.
From Ghana and then he's from Jamaica and now he's from Ghana, even though he's clearly American.
Right. That's right. Unless you look too closely, you probably wouldn't notice, really. But suddenly he's coming in one week with a Russian flag and the next week with a Bulgarian one. But anyway, but after defeating sort of Rusev for the US title at Clash of Champions, I think I don't think Reigns is going to be losing the belt at Hell in a Cell. It's been a great feud, actually. It's been really entertaining to watch, I think. But I just have a feeling that Reigns with his spear possibly, I think will probably beat Rusev at Hell in a Cell.
Again, we talked about storylines making sense. Now you've got Rusev as he should be the heel.
Yeah.
Reigns should be the babyface, but he isn't quite a babyface because the crowd boo him. But for me, it didn't make sense because actually, surely Rusev's in the right there because he's defending his wife's honor. And, if it was roles reversed and it was Reigns defending his wife's honor, then the whole crowd and the fan base would should get behind the babyface. So for me, this feud is a little bit weird because it's Rusev trying to get revenge for something that Reigns has done to him. Don't you think?
And I totally agree with you, I guess. Perhaps, it's something in the American climate at the minute, obviously with Donald Trump, sort of not liking foreigners too much, maybe there's a little bit, maybe there's a little bit to do with that. WWE always like to get a little bit political. I totally agree with you. Obviously, he's defending his family's honor. Rusev, from that point of view, should, be the babyface really, and, should be the person that we should be rooting for. But, Roman Reigns being, the sort of the old fans' hero and being American, I guess, I guess if you go by the booking rather than, sort of being Samoan and everything else, it's, yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, really. I think, like you said, I mean, it would be great to see Rusev win. Don't get me wrong, I would really love to see Rusev win, but I just can't see it happening. I think Roman Reigns has been the cash cow for a little while now, and I think they want to try and continue his momentum and try and keep him on a upward sort of spiral up until the new year, really.
Well, the one thing I have liked is the way that they've pitted Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins, because they've put Seth Rollins into kind of the babyface position without actually turning him babyface. He's pretty much kept the same character. And I quite like that, because that gives it really good growth. Like, if he was to win this match against Kevin Owens, or if he was to move on to the next thing, he doesn't have to change character. He can go back to being a heel, or he can go back, or he can continue kind of being this kind of like face type heel. I don't know how to describe it, and I really like that. But
that's right. It's the edginess, isn't it? Really, I mean, that's what gets that's what gets the fans involved. That's what people like, because he's kind of on the edge, really. It's like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? But the fans will cheer him because A, we know he's really good, and B, we're getting like, oh well, this edginess, like you said, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? And it's working really well for them. And the fact is, his in-ring sort of work speaks for itself, really. He's a fantastic wrestler. He was sorely missed when he was out injured for almost a year. And it's great to have him back, and great to have him back at the sort of main event level where he belongs.
And I'm guessing we're going to see Chris Jericho involved in this main event.
Well, if you've been following Monday Night Raw over the past few weeks, you've seen Kevin Owens and his best friend Chris Jericho have been having quite a few arguments, really. And it's been great to watch. Great sort of chemistry between Owens and Jericho. Like I said, on Sunday, Rollins has already lost 2 title matches to Owens before, and it'd be interesting to see the WWE Universal Championship. It's the name of the title doesn't still quite sit right with me, but they've gone with it now. Like you said, what's going to happen is Chris Jericho going to get involved. It'd be quite interesting to see if he does, considering Kevin Owens has been involved in the last couple of times and cost Jericho his own matches against Seth Rollins. The other question is, could Triple H, come back? Could he interfere again? That was what set Seth Rollins on his way and made him that kind of babyface, really, which is what set him on this run. So just the fact that Triple H had turned against Seth Rollins is what kind of given him his momentum, really. But I think on Sunday, I mean, the Hell in a Cell, the aspect of it being in the cage. Kevin Owens, we know what a fantastic fighter he is, really, and I think hand on heart, I think Kevin Owens wins again. I think on Sunday, I think Kevin Owens has got the kind of Indian sign over Seth Rollins, really, and I think I'm not sure how he'll do it, whether Jericho will interfere, but I think Kevin Owens does retain on Sunday.
Well, with all of this amazing knowledge, Vic, don't worry, you haven't made the list. You're off the list.
Oh, right, yes.
So that's good.
Jericho's list, which went missing midweek, yes.
Missing. Vic, just before you go, quickly tell us all about Hooked on Wrestling, which is now Hooked on Events, I believe.
That's right, yeah. So Hooked on Events, we've been, for many years now, we've been running pay-per-view parties up and down the United Kingdom. So if you're a big wrestling fan, what we've been doing is running pay-per-views, viewings, in some of the best venues up and down the country. So Survivor Series, which will be coming up next month in November, we will be running parties in Liverpool, in Cardiff, and in Leeds. So if you're in any of those areas, do check us out on Facebook. Do check us out. Look for Hooked on Events. All the information will be there. For all you London fans, we'll be back in January for the Royal Rumble. So we look forward to having you there as well. But it's just a fantastic event. You get sort of 500 wrestling fans all dressed up in fancy dress. coming in to have a great time and watch the pay-per-views on a Sunday night.
And we'll put links on the description page after the show for anyone interested in all of that. Vic, thank you so much for your time. Wrestling expert from Hooked On Events. Just before you go, one last quick question. What merchandise have you bought from the Sportuccino.com store?
Well, actually, I don't have it here in front of me right now, but it's actually come in really handy. Actually, just last week I smashed my very last coffee cup that I've had. I smashed quite a few in my house move recently, but I'm very proud to have one of your Sportuccino coffee mugs.
Oh, good man.
Thank you for that.
So next time we get you on Sportuccino, we'll have you sipping your morning coffee out of a Sportuccino mug.
Absolutely. Yeah, I should have had it here today. Really, that's bad marketing on my part.
Yeah, you should have. Well, for anyone else who hasn't bought any merchandise, this is exactly what we've got to offer you on Sportuccino.com. So much good knowledge there from Vic. Thanks to him for being on today's show. We've got so much still to quickly cram into the last few minutes, so I want to remind you that today's show is brought to you by Matt Parro, the award-winning magician. If you would like to book him for your party or event, head to mattparro.com. He's also on Twitter at Matt Parro. If you'd like to sponsor our show, send us an email, sportsdesk@sportuccino.com. It's product review time today. Mrs Crimbles Macaroons with chocolate flavoured coating. It helps if I know what the product is. All right, this is not high in protein. It's low in protein. What is good about these is that they're gluten-free. So if you are gluten-free or a celiac, I'm trying to go gluten-free because I've seen the health benefits when I hit the gym. And I picked these up the other day. I believe they're £1.20. You get 6 in a pack. Would you pay 20p for a macaroon? Not sure. Let's test them out. Open the pack. Here they are. They're pretty big though for a macaroon. I won't take a massive bite because we know it just ends up me just eating stuff. Very soft though. Let's try it out. That's really good. No, seriously, that's really good. I might just spend the last 3 minutes of the show just eating this. I've never had this before. These are, I'm hungry, so that helps. But these are really, really good. Let's have a look at the back of the packet. You'll notice there that they're supporting breast cancer now. So 5p from the sale of this product. So from that £1.20, with a minimum contribution of £12,000 will be donated to breast cancer now. So another good reason why you should try and use that product. Let's just have a look at some of the nutritional information. And we've got that it's got sugar, coconut. Yeah, you can taste the sugar. It's probably not very healthy for you with the sugar. Glucose syrup, egg white, potato starch. And then if you look, it's 172 calories in a macaroon. That's a lot of calories. So if I ate this whole pack, that's 6 slots of 180. You're looking at about 1,000 calories. Jeez, that is too much. That's too much for one day. 8.9 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbohydrate, and only 1.3 grams of protein. Now, this is great if you're gluten-free. It's very tasty, but if you're still trying to stay in shape, I would probably recommend you stay away from it. But if you are gluten-free and you like the taste, that is superb. I enjoy that. All right, we've run out of time. Just before we go, let's have a reminder of our morning headlines.
West Ham manager Slaven Bilic condemns the crowd violence that marred their 2-1 win in the EFL Cup over Chelsea. A goal from Juan Mata gave Manchester United a 1-0 win in their cup derby against Manchester City. An earthquake interrupts the Serie A match between Pescara and Atalanta for 2 minutes. And in Game 2 of the World Series, the Chicago Cubs beat the Cleveland Indians 5-1 to level the series.
Thank you so much for watching today's Sportuccino. We've been live on Facebook, we've been live on YouTube. You can also listen back to this show on iTunes as an audio podcast. We would love to get your likes, comments and shares on all our different platforms. Please help support our show. Tomorrow we'll be discussing everything going on in the world of boxing with one of the best boxing journalists around, Adi Oladipo. We're looking forward to hearing from him. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8.